Welcome back, everyone. I know you missed us. I'm sorry. Tuesday, October 18th, week 6 fantasy in the books. Welcome in to the Fantasy Council. I'm glad you could join us.
Welcome in. Sorry for no episode last week. I had some technical difficulties and I'm also just lazy. And it wasn't that good. We didn't have William to keep us together.
I had a cold. I'm sorry,
he
guys.
couldn't
I
fight through it
slacked.
for the flu game.
But you know what's worse? I had a cold on my 21st birthday, so I literally did nothing.
Wow, tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
Why wouldn't let that stop me? A guy like me.
Me personally,
I'm not letting that happen.
Well,
All right.
Thanks for tuning in. I know you've missed us. I'm sorry to keep all y'all waiting. It's good to see you, Luke and Gavin. I live with Jack, so I don't get to see them. But Luke, how's it going? You look kind of hoodlum over there.
yeah, I'm trying to. We're called the council. I'm trying to do my best Palpatine impression here.
Yes. We're all wearing
big
hoodies. Gavin, where's your hoodie, my boy?
But yeah, I'm good. Well, it's fall break right now. We're recording this on Tuesday night, and I did jack shit for fall break. Which was nice because I was super busy last week. So I got to just
rest. Facts. That's nice.
The worst part is I took off this hoodie earlier. I was already wearing it.
I don't know about y'all, but Jack and I were quite busy this weekend.
I was busy this weekend. Shit. I'm busy right now. But we can't let that stop us. We got to give the people the fantasy football.
Facts. I was referring to Jack and I's probably 8 victory royales that we got this weekend. But anyway, so we're gonna jump into a great episode today.
Kills on the board right now. Just wake up to me. My friend has gone down. Invite him. Now we're heading southbound. Now we're in the Pleasant Park streets. Look at the map.
All right, that was my victory royale dance.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, for get down. Kills on the board right now.
All right, that's not that.
Bro, imagine we literally just do Jack on this podcast, bro.
It's true.
We just do whatever. Anyway, all right. So today's episode, we're gonna go over the mid-season power rankings. We're almost midway through the season. We feel like we've seen enough football, trash football, the worst it's been in 14 years, but we've seen enough. And so we've developed our power rankings for the league that we're going to go over. And we're going to give each team a breakdown. So if you're still listening at this point, you go ahead and skip to your team's breakdown or your opponent that you're trying to trade with breakdown because we know you don't care about everyone else. So that's what we're going to talk about. And then after you skip to your breakdown, go ahead and skip to your matchup because we're going to hit the matchups. We're going to hit our guesses. And then we actually, did we update the whole scores for them? We updated the scores through the first 3 weeks.
We still haven't updated it. We'll do a
okay. Well, the scores through the first 3 weeks were all within 2 games of each other. So we'll bring those to the next episode. We'll finish those. Anyway, so into the power rankings. I think Gavin's going to share his screen.
I will do that.
Oh wow, Gavin had a nice little.
Oh.
Hey.
You were professional.
Okay. Excel. What's it called? Excel fluent.
Proficient.
Oh, my bad.
If you want to be generous.
Wow, so cool.
Can I put this in a graph form?
Oh my gosh.
Disgusting.
I'm sorry, Jackson.
Here we go. I don't know what this means, but
That's brutal.
It's kind of cool. Okay, so immediately from this graph's actually kind of cool because you can see the discrepancies, but we're gonna go over Jackson first. Sorry, Jackson.
Wait,
we all had you at 12th. Go ahead, Luke.
I think mine are from last week from the episode that never happened.
Yeah.
So
no, I just updated them from what you just said.
Yeah, I did that.
You haven't changed it at all.
So I didn't make new ones. So I guess it'll be
have
fine.
any
If you look Terry is 4th on mine and he lost. And so he's 6th and so there's gonna be a little bit of discrepancy with mine. But they're largely fine. But I just wanted to get ahead
do you have
of
any
that.
changes you'd like to make really quickly?
Could we swap? Like, just can we just like straight swap Terry and Max? Like, is that cool? Just
Yeah.
like put Max 4 and Terry 6.
I think that's exactly what mine is. Oh, not exactly, but close.
Yeah, we've got some very similar. Let me make sure I didn't change anything significant. Look at that Excel proficiency. I don't think it did.
Wait.
Wow.
Oh, William, the only thing different is our 9, 10, and 11, but everything else is the exact same. Okay, but that looks fine enough.
You can't argue with the best. Okay. That's just
All right, let's start with
Great minds, man.
Jackson. Let's go look at his team, see what he's working with.
Nazi Germany.
Germany.
When he first changed the nickname, I was like, what? Like, what is he trying to say here? But I get it now.
You're not a student of history.
Yeah.
William
All
got
right,
it.
that's what we're working with. Let's
Gavin, I'm sure there's a 9/11 joke here somewhere.
actually, okay, I just searched it. No players had 9 targets, 9 catches and 11 targets this week.
Yeah, but you can't make the connection to like Hitler.
Hitler did 9/11 famously.
Like 7 fantasy points.
9/11. What? No.
All right. Poor Nazi Germany. Right now he is last points for, sitting at 1-5, the only 1-5 team. He does have a waiver 5, but he's lost. Let's see, he's dropped how many in a row? Can you see on the?
You can do that on the phone, I know.
Yeah, we don't have it here, but
I'm pulling
I don't think he's
it
doing too well.
I'll pull it up.
Nazis dropped 3 in a row. All right, so Nazi rolling out with Garoppolo. He's gonna get Tua back. Let's break down his team. We've seen it. There's a new look team. You know, he's doesn't have his first round pick, doesn't have his second round pick, doesn't have his third round pick, doesn't have his fourth round pick. Well, actually, yeah, he doesn't have any of his first 4 rounds. His first drafted player is Jerry Jeudy, is the only one left on his team. So he's made a lot of moves, trying to consolidate some loss. What are your immediate reactions, Jack? We'll hand it over to you first. What are your immediate reactions to his team?
I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, like, if you would have told me by looking at this is the worst team in the league, I would have been slightly surprised. It doesn't look that bad, especially considering how Lockett's looked recently. But he's just lacking points from the wide receiver position, which is probably normally going to give you the most points, maybe besides the quarterback. But I mean, Jeudy as his wide receiver 1 is pretty rough, and then it looks like he's just got a bunch of like low tier wide receiver 3s, and like I guess you could Lockett might be a 2. The running backs aren't bad. I mean, Najee and Miles Sanders is pretty good.
Well, Josh
Pitts
Jacobs
should be
is
better.
really
He
his
looked
starter.
better.
Yeah, Jacobs.
Oh
Jacobs
yeah,
on his bench.
Jacobs. So he's got good running backs, but the receivers are just rough, man. Like I mean, I don't even know if he's got a wide receiver 2 on his team, if I'm being completely honest. I think Lockett is probably his best, or has been his best receiver. I mean, the way that Broncos offense looks, Jeudy is, I don't know. It's just rough.
The thing about this team that stands out to me is you can have there are 10 starters. There are 10 solid starters that he has total on his team, and you can say, okay, these are all people who should be starting, like Josh Jacobs and Lockett and Sanders and Najee. Like, these are all decent players. Maybe the worst player on this team is Zay Jones, who's pretty solid. This team to me just lacks weekly upside. Najee's not a guy who scores more than 20. Sanders rarely scores more than 20. Jeudy never goes. Like, Lockett is the only person here with very much upside. The rest of these players just have downside or can be consistently mediocre or bad.
Luke, I'd like to hear your thoughts as the perennial Pitts owner in Dynasty. I'd like to hear your thoughts on his whole situation between Pitts and then, like Gavin was just talking about, his upside.
So I remember he made that trade with Spencer, and first off, I think Pitts is getting disrespected by Arthur Smith. I think you don't draft Pitts 4th overall to have him be blocking on the 5-yard line. Like, that's just So I think if Pitts was in a different situation, I think he has like the talent profile and all of the stuff to do well. It's just Mariota's throwing the ball 14 times a game, and on top of that, he's running like half the routes as a high-end tight end should. On like a percentage of routes run on per play. But like I remember that trade he made with Spencer, and he traded for upside essentially. He gave away McCaffrey, he gave away
Andrews and
all of his good
Thielen.
players
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah, there we go. That's the trade. He gave away Andrews for kind of upside with Jacobs, AJ Brown, Pitts, and then like Harris was kind of like a flyer. But and then he kind of traded it away. He traded away AJ Brown for what is it? Lockett and
Sanders.
Lockett and Sanders, and
Trying to just fill holes, kind of.
It didn't hit, and he's kind of shot himself in the foot with that a little bit. And like Gavin said, now it's like, okay, his team can maybe flirt with 120 points a week, like it's not really something that's you don't have a player where it's like if he pops off, he's gonna win you a game.
And it is a long season. And he does have some things that could hit right for him and really boost his team. I really like the Wandale pickup he made. I think Wandale has great potential. Traylon, he's still holding on to him. We don't really know about his situation, but obviously Traylon could come back and be dominant like he was starting to look. Dalvin goes down and Madison's an RB1. And then obviously we know Kyle Pence's talent. And so we're hoping for that upside. And so he's kind of, despite really, really low exciting players, he's kind of built up a team where he needs some things to go right. And that's kind of scary because I mean, if they don't go right, then obviously he's sitting at 1-5. And so I think if some things go right, he could beat some teams. And then he also, but I mean, now we're entering the bye weeks and he doesn't have tons of replaceable assets on his bench, the guys that you want to play. So we'll see. We'll see if he makes moves. We might have seen a new page with Najee, getting in the end zone. So I don't know. I think his team, like everyone's said so far, is just needs some things to go right for that upside.
What I'll say about this team, to say something positive, is this team's not going to beat you, but every week that you're going up against Jackson, this team, you can lose to this team. Like, this team is going to be consistently, it's not going to score less than 90, I don't think, anymore. Which, I think multiple of us scored less than 90 this week. And I think that this will have a consistent baseline of success, where it's not going to put up, like you said, 130 or 140, but that's rare for other people to do that.
Yeah,
I think he can sneak out quite a few wins in the back half of the season with just a little bit of luck in some bad matchups, which he hasn't gotten much luck yet. So
let's move on to the next athlete, James, and Spencer tied with 10.25. But we're gonna hit James since he's lower on the standings. 2-4, 585 points for, but 679 points against. Kind of unlucky there.
Very.
Made a trade for Melvin and Mike Williams that looked good week 1, but week 2 they fell so hard. Let's talk about his team. So he's got Nick Chubb leading the way. He's got a new look Herbert Williams stack. Christian Koch is in there. He's been kind of playing slow. I mean, and he's got depth through the flex. It's not a bad team. Go down to his bench. I mean, I think he's got Claypool obviously had a great game. Noah Brown is still playing a lot on the field, and and Bateman's going to come back. So, I don't know. I like James's team. I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're going to kind of notice. Like, if this is the second worst team, it's really not a bad team at all. It's actually pretty good. Ertz has looked really good. I think that might be the biggest surprise. What is he? Yeah, he's tied in 5. I mean, I would take that from Ertz, especially where he was getting drafted. But I think that trade he just made is really hurting because it looks like Melvin Gordon is just like being schemed out of the offense. Latavius Murray and Boone were eating all the snaps. Look at that 16% target share. I mean, snap share, that's really tough. But if you can go back to his team, it's really not, it's pretty good. Like Chubb has arguably been the best running back. I mean, I think he has been the best running back. He's the RB1, or I guess in standard, but yeah, he had a bad week. But his team looks pretty good. And last week he had a lot of underperformers. I mean, like Williams played pretty bad. DK Metcalf pretty bad. Pickens, that might be the worst we see Pickens play the rest of the year. And then Kirk's been better throughout the year. So I think his team is still solid and he can beat anybody with that team. But again, it just kind of goes back, like he does have more upside than Jackson. I think that kind of is what edges his team over Jackson's.
I think that the main problem with this team is it's a very common fantasy problem that I've had many years. Everyone has had teams like this where you've got one running back and your RB2 is just terrible, and you can't find anyone to fill it. He's got Melvin Gordon, which you made the trade to address, and Melvin Gordon looks like he's not going to be the guy. And Edmonds and Ingram. Edmonds, who I had a lot of confidence in coming into the season, has gotten his role taken by Mostert. So just a little bit of bad luck after some trades, some personnel decisions.
It's baffling to me. Traded away to end up with Melvin Gordon. I think that's also pretty relevant to the.
I would agree with that. But what's absurd about Melvin Gordon is this is what he was getting. These are his snap shares when Javonte Williams was on the team. Now that Javonte Williams is out, they're like, oh, we can't be splitting. Melvin Gordon was good enough to get 30% and 40% of the snaps when Javonte Williams was on the field. But now that they have Latavius Murray and Mike Boone as his competition, they're not giving him the work. Now that he has worse competition, he's getting less work. And that doesn't make hardly any sense to me at all. But so I kind of understood why he made that trade. It does look really bad after Mike Williams got put on Patrick Surtain Island.
I mean, that's just kind of how Mike Will is, though. He's either going to get you 25 or 3 points.
Yeah, I don't have the bench depth, but if I could have, I would have benched Mike Williams against Surtain for sure. That's just
wow.
Like Surtain's one of the best man corners. I mean,
I just can't.
Yeah,
with Mike Williams, like you have to start him, unless you have like someone. I mean, who would you have on your bench if you had like an Alec Pierce? Would you have started Alec Pierce over Mike Williams?
Pierce against the Jags?
I mean, like, because that's the type of bench receiver you might have to start over him, and it's just like, but I mean, maybe that is the new thing. Maybe you have to bench guys against Surtain because, like you just said, he's been clamping down.
I think Mike Williams is, like we talked about, very boomer bust. I think against a man corner like Surtain, in my mind, I'm thinking 70% bust that week. Like if I'm like need a win, I'll play him and just kind of roll the dice, kind of like you would with Djax back in the day. But like, you don't really. Speaking of which, he got picked up by the Ravens. I don't know, and we're getting off topic.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good point. But I think James. I mean, he plays me next week. He's got high projections, and Nick Chubb is playing phenomenally.
Yes.
So I expect to see a better game from Herbert and Mike Williams. Obviously, Herbert threw 57 attempts and with 0 touchdowns. That's like the first time it's ever happened in his career. And it was after like the DraftKings. Y'all see the DraftKings thing?
That was so.
Yeah, I did.
It's rigged.
That's so wild. So if you're not familiar with it, DraftKings had a -800 line, which means that it's very likely that he'll throw a touchdown. But for like a free promo, they were like +100. So it's basically a free bet that Justin Herbert would throw a touchdown, and in his first time in his career, like he didn't throw a touchdown or something. So the bookies always win. Anyway, good team. Christian Kirk should play better. Zach Ertz has been a nice surprise, and we'll see what George Pickens can pan out to be with Mitchell back at quarterback next week, probably. So next team, right. Spencer. 10.25 as well.
Spencer with the most points scored against in the league. Very unlucky. I think he has the 3rd highest points scored in the league, but he's 2-4.
Yeah,
even with that
I can
being
go
the case.
first on this team. I don't think
So
Spencer should
unlucky.
be 2-4. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like this team on paper looks like it should be at least 3-3, if not 4-2.
Dude, yeah, I should probably move him up, to be honest.
Um, and for me, the only reason he was as low as he was because we kind of did like not roster strength, but kind of like holistic, kind of like with record in mind, which is he was 1-4 at the time of my rankings, so I
Yeah.
kind of lower. But like from an objective like roster, just on paper team, I think this is easily a top 6 team in the league. Like look, you have he has Jackson's best players in McCaffrey and Andrews. Marquise Brown's been great other than the fact he just got hurt.
He's out for 6 weeks, out indefinitely, which is really
It's 6
tough.
weeks. Never mind, that sucks.
Yeah, that's why he's so low for me, because I like this team quite a bit, but it changes a lot when you lose a guy like Marquise Brown.
Yeah,
He is,
for sure.
though. I mean, he's holding Rondale, so it's not like it's a complete loss. Should get some of that value back.
Yeah, but I think Rondale Moore has I think maybe top 5 worst ADOT in the league. Like they're pretty much only throwing to Rondale on drags, where Marquise Brown was like their vertical threat. So I think even if it's the same in terms of pure targets, it's not going to be the same quality of looks.
Yeah. My problem with Spencer's team is obviously you have Andrews and Christian McCaffrey. But outside of that, and I like beforehand, if Brown was still playing, I would probably bump him up a spot or two. But behind that, it's just a kind of a lot of mediocrity. Like James Robinson has regressed a ton. ETN's looked way more efficient and way better. And I think he's just going to keep taking over that workload. Thielen is just gross. Rondale Moore is just kind of gross. Pollard could be good, but obviously Zeke's always going to be limiting him. And then Allen coming back would be huge, but again, I mean, he's freaking third. I don't know. I mean, he's just played for a while, so sometimes when guys like these get hurt, it's just kind of how it works, which is just super unfortunate. But hopefully he'll be back. It seems like he should have been back for the last 2 weeks.
He suffered a setback in practice.
Has a re-injured hamstring, which when you hurt your hamstring, it's like doesn't take forever to come back from. But when you re-injure the same hamstring, it's like, okay, you have to sit for almost a month before they're going to let you go back out there and catch passes and run around. Yeah. So the re-injury is what really has sunk Keenan Allen's season so
far. But it's a bright spot about Spencer's team is that he does have Cordell Patterson coming back in a couple weeks.
Yes, that's true.
Which will help. Cordell Patterson's a great team and a player for Arthur Smith who loves running the ball for no reason. And they're winning. They literally won.
They're good.
Throws less than 13 passes.
They're good.
So the plan is working. So Patterson's going to come back and be good, hopefully. I mean, putrid offense, but fantasy-wise, I mean, plug him into a lineup immediately. Kyler's been disappointing. Yeah, Dawson Knox got a touchdown. Kyler Murray's been disappointing, but with D-Hop back, hopefully that's to get boosted.
Still been all right. He's still the quarterback 6.
Oh, true. But don't you feel a little bit disappointed still though?
I mean, yeah. He got Murray before Hurts, and he was telling me that he's like, wow, that was a horrible idea. And I was like, I mean, obviously in hindsight it was. I probably still would have drafted Hurts, but it's a coin flip at the point in time.
Mm-hmm. And then he's got so go ahead, Luke.
Oh, I was just gonna no, you go first. I'll have concluding remarks. How about that?
Okay. I was just gonna say, and then he's got Murray, hopefully will continue to take over that backfield or stay healthy. And then Pollard, who is, top 10 upside if Zeke ever goes down. So similar to Spencer, a couple things go right, and he's got a great team, but and he's putting up great numbers. So I mean, he's a threat to win every week or to beat you every week. And we'll see if he can dig himself out of this 2-4 hole.
Now I'll go back and say what I want. This may be kind of rude, but it's kind of like Jackson's team with upside. Like Jackson's team, it's not really gonna like lose him games, like he has that floor of 90, but you take that team and then you add, game winners like McCaffrey, game winners like Andrews, even Pollard kind of has upside if he happens to pop off something. Like, Jackson's team just doesn't really have that. And I think that like if Jackson didn't really make that trade, barring injuries, maybe their positions would be different. So
McCaffrey's gonna kill it on the Bills.
dude, I want that to happen so bad.
I know. Pretty. All right, LJ. I think there's a lot of disagreement on Luke. Where do I have his team? I think I'm the
Luke
highest.
Made 2 trades since the last episode.
Yes.
Do you want to go over those really quick?
What were they? They were Walker and AJ Brown.
It was a 2-for-1
yes
downgrade into a 2-for-1 upgrade.
What a beast.
Cooper and Walker for CeeDee Lamb, and then AJ Brown
for Sanders
and
Lockett.
That's pretty savvy, to be honest.
Yeah,
so
that's a really nice.
I'm impressed with what he did. Obviously, we didn't know how good Kenny was going to be, but that looks like a great asset. AJ Brown is, a beast receiver for the Eagles, and then he also got, let's see, Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper with his classic 12 targets off, in that.
And Amari, so I really like what he did, and unfortunately, it didn't really super pan out for him this last week. He only had like 92 points.
I mean, the players he traded for did exceptional. Yes,
exactly. So, and then Saquon, crouched down on the 1-yard line, so he could have had 25.
Yeah.
I don't know. Immediate thoughts on this one, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really solid team from just the running backs and the wide receivers. And Njoku's honestly looked really well. He's played really well this year. He's been kind of a surprise, maybe not for some people. And I don't know, did his quarterback get hurt? I mean, Gino will have some weeks where he does really well. And I mean, shit, I'd be happy with 12 points. But I think what really hurts his team is the flex. The flex is just disgusting, man. Like Garrett Wilson, ever since Wilson's gotten back into that offense, like Garrett Wilson's just been horrible. Mm-hmm. And then MVS sucks in real life, dude. He drops like 2 passes every game. But like obviously on the Chiefs, like he'll probably have a game where he scores 25 points because he'll probably connect for a deep touchdown like he used to do on the Packers. But the flex spot is just what's killing this team for me.
Good news for him is he'll have Brandon Cooks back, who's a serviceable flex guy. He's like the perfect flex player, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's been a little disappointing this year, but
but I think
he has
his targets are great. So focus on that.
Normally,
I think this team, if you like Jack said, if you go down from like a position by position, you're like, okay, quarterback, and it's fine, but like running back's great, receivers great, and then it kind of like shows itself a little bit through the flex, and like then you get down to the bench, and like I don't want to. The bench is kind of gross. Like Cooks will be in the flex, so I'm not considering him part of the bench. Like Randall Cobb, not fantasy relevant. Darius Slayton, like Isaiah McKay, I don't really feel confident rolling any of those guys out in like a pinch hit for my flex.
Mm-hmm.
And with bye weeks coming, bye weeks are already happening. Like, I don't see how this team's gonna have holes going forward for sure.
I want to talk about having holes on bye weeks. LJ's roster has 2 running backs. 2 running backs.
Wow.
And
I did not know that.
Their bye weeks 9 and 11. But
nice.
Wow. Wow, snuck it in there.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going to have weeks 9 and weeks 11. He's going to have 1 running back in this team, barring some trades, which he's going to have to make.
Does he really only have 2 running backs?
He rosters 2 running backs.
Wait, what?
2. Barkley and Walker. The only
oh my word!
Entire team.
What are you doing?
What a baller,
bro! He should sell high on scrotum after that banger week he just had.
Boss moves.
He's taking the Cooper Cup role, but This is ballsy team construction. Only having
If only I had 6 running backs, LJ. Just
if only there was people
out
we
there.
could trade with. But,
That used to be me. Pain.
But I mean,
Good
I
team.
like obviously it's a very top heavy team with a lot of guys who can beat you, and a guy who looks like he's going to be quite the value in Kenneth Walker. It's a team that I think should get better throughout the season, not worse. Even if he doesn't make any moves. So I like this team quite a bit. I have him at 7, which is a little bit above everyone else. All right, we come to the lowest council member now, Jack Phillips.
Sorry, Jack.
Yeah,
a lot of discrepancy on Jack.
Yeah, I had him ranked pretty low, which
that's fair.
And you see DJ Dallas and Joshua Kelly in the running back position.
I mean, that's not my starting running backs going forward, but
I wish I could.
I understand what you mean. I understand what you're saying. You make fair points.
Yeah. Still the same. Damn. But Longs, what do you think about? So, what do you think about our boys' team over here?
I think it has a fair amount of I feel like if you have a team with both T. Higgins and Gabe Davis, you're kind of swinging for the fences every week, just with how inconsistent Joe Burrow is, and Gabe Davis is obviously big game potential. And I think, obviously you have some safe players with Kupp. The quarterback position, notoriously an issue for our boy Jack Phillips. Jack, what are your starting running backs? I can't picture either of them.
So when Connor's
let me jump in before you talk, Jack.
Okay, go for it.
So obviously you didn't draft this way, but let's view his team as the hero RB build. Hero RB meaning you have one primary running back, then you just kind of plethora through, and then you roll out good receivers every week. Let's view it as a hero RB. He's got, I'm saying that, I mean, obviously the council members know what hero RB is. Anyway, so let's say he's rolling out James Conner, okay? It hurts that in a hero RB, when your hero running back has been hurt or banged up or in a bad offense for the last, 3 weeks, your team's going to suck. However, I think with the hero RB back, and then he's got Kupp, Higgins, Juju, Gabe, Jameson Williams going to come back. Myers is a great receiver. Normally, you'd use hero RB to have a positional advantage either at quarterback or tight end, which is what he doesn't have right now, which is what he wanted with Schultz, but it hasn't panned out so far. So I think if you look at it through that lens, it's like, okay, this team's not that bad. However, the hero RB has been hurt and Dalton Schultz has been hurt. So a little bit banged up with injuries as far as like his team construction goes. But I think, we're starting to see some of these guys positively regress, and maybe he'll change off the hero RB build, but I think he's got some good players.
To me, with this team, it's whenever you've got a base setup of Cooper Kupp, Gabe Davis, Jacoby Myers, and T. Higgins, those 4 players in your wide receiver and flex, I feel pretty confident putting that lineup up against anyone else's wide receiver and flex positions. It's just a matter of every week, can the running backs do enough to where you actually have an advantage. If your both your running backs scored 10 points, then having Cooper Kupp and Higgins and get Davis going for 30 each, then you can win your week. But you just can't be combining for 0.1 from your top 2 running backs is the main, obviously, the gaping hole in this team. This team just needs to have running backs who score 10 points and quarterbacks who score 15. And then this is a very competitive team with a better tight end than most.
And you forget Schultz has looked great when Dak is his quarterback, and that's apparently soon. Schultz had another setback in his knee as I'm currently reading that headline, staring it down.
Oh, no.
In some universe, let's call it like week 9, hypothetically. If this team, goes 2-2, you get Schultz back and you kind of have that positional
on his bye
advantage
week
William was talking about,
So week 10.
Yeah, week
Yeah.
10.
Oh, he's not back. God damn it. But I don't think,
No, that's a good point.
Just got to solve that quarterback. Just gotta find something.
I just
Grind
want to
out
know.
15 points.
I want to know what Jack's plan to fix this team is, besides trading with Bret. Stop trying to trade with Bret. He's not going to trade with you.
I don't really. I mean, I've got to find a trade. I mean, obviously, like DJ Dallas and Kelly didn't. I was just praying that like they would find the end zone or something. I mean, DJ Dallas had 25 snaps and got 2 touches. That's horrible. And then Joshua Kelly went in for one play on a play action and then like got hurt or something. And then Sony Michel took over and ended up scoring like 8 points. Obviously, it didn't cost me the week, but and then the quarterback thing, I mean, I'm picking up in theory top 12 quarterbacks based on what they've done all year, and they're scoring me 4 points every week. So it's just kind of bad management and just unluckiness. And like obviously y'all hit it with Schultz. Like I paid a high price for tight end, and it's just like I remember saying whenever Dak got hurt, I was like, I said my fear with Schultz going forward is he was horrible whenever Cooper Rush was the quarterback, and that was like a really short sample. But like he's been hurt. But yeah, I mean, the way I drafted my team was to have ridiculous upside at the wide receiver position, which I feel like I have with 4 wide receivers. And then Myers has really been solid. Like I think he's like 15 points a game.
When he plays, yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, when he plays, he's been good. So I've got 5 really solid wide receivers, which I like. And I think once Jameson Williams starts playing, I think he could really pan out. But yeah, I think the biggest thing, I've got to find something at running back. I mean, Connor needs to get healthy. I can't get the right waiver guys. So I'll probably try and trade for like a couple running backs, I think. But I don't know why Bret won't trade with me. The trade I offered him would have beat me this week. I think he just gets mad because I don't know. I don't know why he won't trade. His team's 2-4. It's not been doing that good lately. But yeah, it's in the process. I think my team could end up being really solid, but it's still a little ways from that, a big ways from that. So I don't know. I don't want to give away too much information, but we'll figure it out.
Can you put this in the drive?
The spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks. Next we're going to talk about who Jack was just Jack's trade partner. Bret Smith, Return of the King or Rise of the King, as the new league name says.
No, we're talking about Terry.
We're on Terry.
Wait,
Yeah,
Bret's not next?
Yeah, we're on
Terry's
Terry.
next.
Oh, I saw Jack P and I thought it was Jack T.
Nah.
Oh, Terry. Start off real hot, 4-0, but has since dropped 2, and he's dropped only 4 spots or 3 spots in the standings. Terry is ranked what is that? What is the 6th or 7th?
7th. He's in 7th.
We have him in 7th. So even despite his good ranking and 4th in standings, we have him in 7th. Why is that? I'll let Longworth. How about you go first?
I mean, if you just imagine, I don't want to say I fleeced him because everyone thought I lost the trade originally, but like if he has Breece Hall and CeeDee Lamb, this team looks so much better than what it does right now with AJ Dillon underperforming and then Waddle having to deal with really pretty subpar quarterback play. But that trade happened. And so now his team has, he's rolling out Boone and Dillon in his running back. Deontay Johnson's been underperforming, trying to figure out his synergy with Pickett. Waddle, had a pretty good game. Goddard, I think, is like the tight end 5 on the year. But he's rolling out Mooney and Lazard at the flex.
Yeah.
And so I just don't think it's really depth. There's not that much star power other than Waddle. He has Lamar, which is obviously a top 5 quarterback. But if you ask me, I think like Spencer's team has more home run power, and those abilities to put up 140 in a week than Terry's team. So I'm not super high on it. I think I have him sixth just because of his record at 4-2 is better than most in the rest of the season. But like from a team standpoint, I'm not super high on it.
Mm-hmm. Gavin?
I kind of agree. I'm the one who told him to trade Brees Hall, and I was wrong.
Well, you were right. You weren't wrong for the reason. You're wrong.
No, my
for
reasoning
what's
was very
happened.
correct. I was wrong about the results were incorrect, but the reasoning.
Wait, what was your
very
reasoning?
correct.
What was your reasoning? Just for curiosity.
Up to that point, he had been very reliant on catching passes. Like he was not getting.
Well, it was your Zach Wilson argument. Zach Wilson doesn't throw to running back.
It was-
we've had
It
this
was
conversation.
look at,
We've had this.
and then he came back and started getting right when he wasn't getting many carries, and then right after you traded him, he got 17, 18, and 20 carries
Yeah.
out of nowhere. But
No,
I am correct.
I got
He
him after
only
week
has
2. I got him after that Cincinnati game. I mean, before that Cincinnati game, but yeah.
okay. Well, even so, the
Anyway.
Zach Wilson comeback
That was a good move.
did damage his receiving. It just doesn't matter because he's really good, and he gets a lot of work on the ground now. But Deontay Johnson, I think, is still a solid receiver. He's getting double-digit targets most weeks, and that's fine. Apparently, Trubisky got benched because he got in a fight with Deontay Johnson. So if Trubisky has to start again this week, that'll be interesting to say the least. But
wait, really? I didn't hear.
I saw that on Twitter, and like it's probably just hearsay. But
that's interesting.
Gollard's a good tight end. If what can save this team, in my view, is obviously Swift coming back and being good. But the main thing is if Mooney can continue to be just a serviceable flex play, and Lazard can keep being the way that
a good flex play. He's a good flex play.
Then I think that this team can keep winning. Lamar is crazy, and we've seen what happens to Terry's team gets a lot worse when Lamar doesn't put up 40. This is you look at there's a correlation between him being undefeated and him losing where Lamar is performing. But I still think that this is a team that can beat you. Like Swift when he comes back, Lazard catching passes from Rodgers, Deontay Johnson having such a good floor, Waddle being explosive. I still have a lot of confidence in this team. And then he's got players that with bye weeks are going to be a lot more valuable than like you don't want to have to start Josh Palmer, Romeo Dobbs, or Josh Reynolds, but on bye weeks, those are going to be serviceable guys who are going to not give you a 0, which is important coming up.
He is already past his best players bye in DeAndre Swift, so he'll have DeAndre Swift the rest of the way. And I think that A.J. Dillon's been really disappointing, but hopefully the Packers will figure something out. But it might include just using Aaron Jones more because Aaron Jones is just the better running back. So, I mean, if I had A.J. Dillon, obviously you're hoping that he gets better, but you don't really know what the situation is going to be in Green Bay because they're struggling. Anyway, Jack's team, good team. That's why he's ranked 6th. Great record. That's why he's also ranked 6th. But next is Bret. The Rise, we have him at 6'6", 7'7", so pretty standard all the way across.
I think Jack's ranked 7th, but that's fine.
He's ranked 10.
He's had some tough luck. He's got some of the highest. I think he has the.
He probably has the smallest
highest
loss
he
margin.
Has almost the highest points against. Got some of the highest 13. Points against, besides for me and Spencer. But
that's by 1.
Yeah, he's had some really tough luck, but his team is still, in my eyes, looking pretty good. Except for last week. Holy cow, man!
He's only lost by 8. He's lost by 8, 13, and 1. So
man.
1 player difference. That stinks. But he's also won by 1 point. I don't know. Initial thoughts, obviously, Green Bay, we just talked about them. They're doing poorly. Tyreek Hill looks fantastic again.
Yes.
12. We were kind of concerned, had a couple down weeks, but it's Tyreek Hill. You're gonna have up and down weeks, kind of like a higher floor, more explosive Mike Williams, basically just a better Mike Williams. And then Cortland Sutton, Gavin,
what the hell's going
disappointing.
On the Broncos?
Why? So did you see this coming, Gavin, when you traded him away?
No, I thought all of the things that I told Bret that were going to happen. I believed what I was selling Bret. Like
Snake oil salesman, come on.
Yeah, I actually believed. I was like, Mostert can have upside, which he has. I believed that Aaron Jones would be good, which he hasn't. But that was a bit of a stretch. But I really did believe that Sutton was going to keep being a 10-point floor guy. And I think that was pretty reasonable to assume until whatever the hell happens. The Broncos don't make sense. They should be so good, but they're not. I can't explain it. It's just incredible. It's entirely baffling to me. And until they figure something out, Sutton is really hurt. His ceiling is really hurt. And now it looks like he doesn't even have the floor that you thought he did. All of a sudden, he goes from his season low in targets drops 4 just on a random Monday night game.
I think what's deceptive about this screen, though, is that Derrick Henry and Joe Burrow aren't included. They're two of his best players, and they're not included in that starting lineup. So his team looks better, or is better than it looks right here. Jack, what do you think about Bret's team? I mean, you have a lot of experience looking at his team, probably.
Yeah, and I cannot figure out why. I told Gavin, I think the reason he started Rodgers over Burrow, and if he started Burrow, he would have beat me this week, was because Rodgers was projected like 20.5 and Burrow was like 19.9. I really hope that's why he didn't do that. But Burrow has been better like every week before, so I don't know why he had any reason not to start Burrow. But anyways, the problem that I have with Bret's team, and this is kind of what I told him, and it kind of goes along the problem that I have with Zach's team, but obviously it's just it's a lot better. It's just when you roll out, I mean, typically he's going to roll out 4 running backs every week. The problem with running backs, outside of like the elite running backs, they're just touchdown dependent. For the most part, they're touchdown dependent. And that's why I keep trying to sell him some of my wide receivers for some of his running backs. Is, when you roll out Mostert in the flex, he's going to give you 4 points some weeks, which he's done like, I think 4 to 6 points, which he's done like 4 times this year. So his team can have a lot of upside, but just a lot of players on his team are touchdown dependent. Like Dobbins, he's played 3 healthy games. The one good game he's had, he scored 2 touchdowns. The other 2, hell, I'm not going to count last week because he got hurt. The other 2 games, he was horrible. And obviously Jones hasn't panned out. Tyreek Hill's really been the only bright spot, and Derrick Henry, who was on bye. But yeah, it's just a lot of volatility on his team. And I don't know. I don't like a team that's super touchdown dependent, especially in a year like this where like just random ass dudes are scoring touchdowns.
Can you break?
Yeah. And then I don't know. I mean, he's rolling out Mr. Ketamine at tight end. I don't know if that's a
Hawkinson is on my thing.
But even Hawkinson, I mean, he's been really bad besides his one like atomic bomb
40-point game.
Yeah. So I ranked Bret's team a little actually I don't know where I ranked it. Where did I have it?
You had him in
I think I had it at 7 originally, but I bumped it up to 6. I'd probably move it back down. I'm not really a huge fan, but I think I don't know. I think it's too touchdown dependent, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Luke, I'd like to if I may, I'd like to get your we're gonna play a game, right? Luke, you're the trade wizard, okay? You make all the most trades, you make the most negotiations. If you're the Bret's team owner and you're panicked after you just scored 69 points,
nice,
and Tyreek Hill had half the points and you're panicked, what you're looking at this team. Where are you trying to? What direction are you trying to go right now?
So what's Brett's record? Is he 2-4?
He's 2-4.
He's 2-4.
So the issue I have with, and I can talk about Brett's team a little bit while I do this, is Brett's team on like an individual player by player basis are people I would like to buy low on. Like I would like to, buy low into Jones while the Packers are shitting the bed. I'd like to buy low on London while he only has 4 targets, but he still maintains that like 35% target share.
Off of 14 attempts.
Yeah. But you get my drift, right? Like, it's not gonna happen
get that.
Still, this is what they want to do. But sorry to interrupt.
So it's kind of weird. I would like to say sit tight, but like maybe move Sutton and just say, look, that's never going to happen again, and just get the fuck out of Dodge with this Broncos offense because it's looking putrid.
He's
You
got a
start
tough matchup
Bronco.
next week too.
Who does he have next week?
He has you next week, so I mean, 2-4 going against one of the better teams.
Well, never mind. Play Sutton, please.
Tell him to bench Sutton against the Jets.
No, he was telling him to move on,
Oh,
trade him because you can't afford to let the Broncos figure it out. But anyway, as you were
I
saying,
don't know. I mean, like, I really do like Brett's team. I mean, like, maybe try to move Hawkinson, see if anyone bites. Because, like Jack said, he hasn't been performing well. But if I'm Brett, I'm pretty freaking confident in this team. I think it just happened that every one of his players absolutely pissed their pants on the exact same week.
mm-hmm.
And then, of course, like Jack said, he started Rodgers over Burrow, which is just not smart.
I would be a little worried about Dobbins personally.
I would too, but you get Derrick Henry back.
Right, but having your knee, surgically repaired knee, tighten up,
that's not right.
That's pretty scary.
That's bad.
I'm not kind of worried about Dobbins, but I don't know. I guess the argument that you kind of said to sit tight would be he's 2-4, right? What if he comes around and loses next week? Now he's 2-5, and the 6th place cutoff has 4 wins, so he's already 2 games back, and there's only 6 games left. Are you gonna wait around for the Packers to figure it out? Are you gonna wait around for the Broncos to figure it out, or are you gonna trade these guys to get some quick wins? I guess that's what he's gonna have to wrestle with.
I think.
I mean, it's got
sorry to cut you off again. If you're like 2-5, 2-6, I think you do hit the panic button, for sure. And then you sell Aaron Jones and you kind of downgrade a tier to if you really like the Packers for some reason, you could maybe try to get Dylan or in one of Terry's receivers, or I think that's when you kind of start shelling off. I think you keep Tyreek Hill because he does have 30-point a game potential.
Definitely.
But I definitely think because most people I think see Sutton as that top 24, maybe even mid wide receiver 2. Maybe you downgrade Sutton to try to get more points in more positions. That's what I would do. If you're full on
let's say he's trading with Terry, and this is the last thing we'll go, and then we'll move on. And he's gonna take your advice and he's gonna go after Dylan. Would you do Aaron Jones and Sutton for Dylan, Deontay, and Lazard? Would you do that?
Oh, hell yes.
Yes.
Dylan,
What
Deontay,
about
and Lazard?
just Dylan and Deontay?
I wouldn't. I think
so. Here's the thing out with Jones, and I've been trying to get him in trades, and it's not because I think this is a problem that a lot of people have, and I'll have it myself sometimes. But you see a name like Aaron Jones, you're like, oh, it's the elite running back that he's been the last 4 years. That's just, the offense is bad. He doesn't get a lot of touches. He's just not what he used to be. And so obviously I'm going to try and trade for him because I'm rolling out DJ Dallas every week, but I'm also not going to overpay for a guy that's scoring outside of his 30 bomb 10 points a week. And so I think trying to move a guy like Aaron Jones just based off of his name value, especially when you have a really comfortable back RB1 like Derrick Henry, I think that would be a good idea for Bret. And maybe this is me trying to persuade him to sell him to me, but I don't know. Like I think he's just got too many unknowns right now, especially like you said with Dobbins getting hurt.
We don't know if we'll
I
see
think
Cam
he's
Akers again this year either.
right.
Here's what I'll say about Bret's team is, if I were Bret, what I would want to do here is I would want to throw my scraps to the dogs in exchange for, he has got serviceable running backs. And we've talked about this and we're going to see more of it. There are teams with nothing at running back who have no depth. Forget depth. They don't have starters. You can give J.K. Dobbins or Raheem Mostert or Rashad White, go and get like really good explosive flex players.
That's fair. Yeah.
I totally agree.
Maybe like Drake London and Raheem Mostert. Go get a legit guy in your flex.
A bona fide flex.
Exactly. Yes. That's what I would do. But I mean, I think we've pretty much covered Bret's team.
We're trying to do his job for him because he has so much trading to be done, but he just hasn't done it.
He just doesn't like doing it.
And he doesn't check his phone.
Yet.
No,
he's
checks
playing
his
the long
phone.
game, guys. He's playing the long game.
He checks his phone. I promise you, he checks his phone.
Zach, we all have him at 5. Is that true? Did we all?
I think I have him at 4.
Yeah,
no, I had him at 5. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm at 5. I had him at 4, but I think I bumped Max up.
Zach, we all have him at 5. We all like his team, and this is the team that, we all talked about the first 3 rounds of the draft spectacular, and then we thought there was a fall off hard with starting with Clyde, and then we've all come around and we've said this team's really good, and we rank him rightfully so. He's got, any team with Allen and Diggs is dominating. And then he's got Darrell Henderson, hopefully pans out. Joe Mixon's been underperforming. Zeke and Clyde have been underperforming recently. And so I think that his team, still has something to be gained, especially with DeAndre Hopkins coming back. And that's why we rank him highly. And he's also scored a lot. I think he might be second highest point scored in the league. So he's got a good team. Any thoughts on this?
I just want to say, I think Clyde has been properly performing. Obviously 3 is just like, that's underperforming. But like he was getting, besides the 1 week, like 10 touches a game and scoring. He was like the RB4 off of that. And I was saying in the podcast, I was like, I think he needs to sell high on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He can't sustain that value with the amount of touches.
I think everyone was saying that, to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he was willing to do that. So I don't even want to go out as far and say Clyde has been underperforming. I think just like that's sometimes when he's not getting in the end zone, about 6 points is where he might be some weeks. But yeah, I'll let somebody else can go for it.
Gavin?
What I see on this team is Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, who are studs, and then a bunch of other guys who can get you 10 to 15 points, which is when your team, when you've got guys like Mixon and Henderson and Devontae Smith, and you don't have any holes in your roster. This is just a complete team to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I would sleep very soundly at night with this team. His flex, there's not much of a fall off between his flex and his bench, and that shows a little bit of like lack of quality on his flex, but it also shows like the really good quality of his bench. This is just
a great bench. That's insane.
CEH, who we're all low on him, but he's still been really good this year. And D Hop on your bench, and then Elijah Mitchell, who could come back and get a lot of work after the bye. It's just a super deep team with a couple really heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how I like to build my teams, which I said it about that Jack every year. Or sorry, Zach, Jack too. But Zach just has a very different fantasy philosophy to me, but this is a very, very solid, safe team that has no holes.
The way I was gonna describe it's similar to you. Like instead of a complete team, I'd say it's like a solid ass team. Like there's no glaring holes, and then you have the Allen Dick stack. Like it's not going to be, and I may be wrong. I may be shooting myself in the foot here. It's not going to be like 160 points a week unless the Bills go for 50. But I think it's like its floor might be the highest in the league. Just like I don't see this team scoring less than like minimum like 105.
Yeah.
Every single week.
Has he had a double digits? Like, I think he might be the only team in the league that scored above 100 every single week.
I think it like, I don't know, off the top of my head, that sounds right. Just because of like, even Benjamin is now like, he's not starting anybody where it's like, especially coming up with the bye weeks coming up. We talked about that deep bench. I think a lot of teams are going to be like rolling out. Like for me, I might have to roll out Allen Robinson, in my flex and like just kill myself. But like even he has the deep bench to not have to do that, and I think it's going to win him some weeks going forward.
Definitely. I don't think his team will fall off during the buys, which that's huge.
Steady as she goes. Steady as she goes for Zach. Next player is Max, the number one by far in the opening season power rankings, has fallen to number 4 and the 7th in the standings. But his team's
coming back,
starting to come back to form. He's won 3 in a row. He's got Hurts leading the charge with Eckler, Kamara, the Buccaneers twins, and then Higbee and a plethora of flexes. Yeah, I mean he wins games. He started off 0-3, now he's won 3 straight. He's weekly the highest projected. And Eckler and Kamara have returned to form. Good team. Who has not played Max? Have we all played Max yet?
I haven't.
I don't think I have either, actually.
All right, so you're the only one who has. Damn.
Yeah, I played him week 1, so I have to play Max twice. But Max, I guess that means he's got a tough-ish schedule if he has to play both of you two still. What are y'all's thoughts on Max's team?
I mean, I'll be quick. I'll say a couple things, but obviously Eckler and Kamara started to look like themselves. There was I had a lot of concern about both these guys when he started off. They're the reason he started off 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're the reason that he's 3-0 in the last 3 weeks. So, he's got. You look at his flex and it looks pretty bad, but then you see there's still depth on the bench. Devin Singletary, unless if they don't trade for someone, it looks like Singletary is going to get a lot of work, which that's huge. Definitely going to be a flex type guy. And hey, if Kittle keeps being Kittle, then Higbee can be a flex. Go for the 12 personnel fancy. I've done that before. It's ugly, but it works. Speaking of ugly, but it works, though. We talked about this last week, but I didn't upload an episode. Having Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the same team, it just hurts my heart. It just goes so against my fantasy philosophy. You limit yourself and your upside so much by having 2 different wide receivers on the same team. I think that he shouldn't obviously sell low on any of those players. Like, you should get your value for Evans, you should get your value for Godwin, but he does need to, in my eyes, trade one of them for someone of equivalent value, or maybe a little bit of depth, or upgrade somewhere. Just don't have 2 high-end receivers on the same team. Don't have your top 2 receivers be on the same team. That's not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for mediocrity.
In his defense, there's probably 3, 4 maybe NFL teams who you would want to have both fantasy receivers. And the Buccaneers.
And in his defense, he got to him in the 7th round.
Yeah.
So it's not like he reached. He got amazing value on Godwin. But I think that he does need to take advantage of that value somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would probably trade Evans because I feel like he's been the more just kind of like boomer bust receiver on that team. And I feel like you know what you're going to get out of Godwin every week. So from the way Max likes to manage his team, I think Evans would be a better one to trade, and you get a lot more value out of him than Godwin, I think. But yeah, this is like the only problem I have with this team is the Evans Godwin stack. I've told him that from week 2. I'm like, trade me one of them. You don't need both. And like you shouldn't have both from I think me and Gavin and probably all of us are on the same page. But like it still works. And then he's rolling out like the 2 biggest wide receiver running backs at running back besides Christian McCaffrey, but they're probably getting more targets this year when healthy than McCaffrey's getting. So like his team is really good.
Yeah, when you have 2 top 5 running backs and a top 3 quarterback, your team's going to be good regardless. Like we talk about how some running backs don't have the upside of some of the receivers, like you're starting in your flex. Eckler and Kamara have wide receiver type upside at the running back position, which is why this team is just so explosive.
And Deion Jackson apparently.
Apparently, yeah, he's the best running back in the league. Apparently,
wide receiver 1 on the Colts.
I think William needs to talk here because he didn't talk on the last one. So I'd love to hear William's thoughts on the team.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
Of course, sir.
I can always facilitate, but y'all know I love to talk about it. Ayuk, pleasant surprise. Y'all been talking about the Evans Godwin stack. I kind of agree with y'all. And then y'all also touched on like the Eckler and Kamara, how they're both receiving backs. It's very good. He's starting Russell Wilson this week. That's quite bold. And then he's got a really good bench too. I think he still has Corey Davis on his bench. Maybe not. Nope, not Corey Davis anymore. Corey Davis looks like the wide receiver 1 in the Jets now. But Singletary's the starter. Jameson Williams, or what is his name? Jamal Williams is kind of like in a split kind of deal. Obviously there's no Swift there, but even before he was splitting. And then the rest of his bench, he's got a good team and he's got 2 startable tight ends. So that's why we have him ranked highly. And I think as far as top heavy goes, he's one of the more top heavy teams. We might see, I don't really see a need for him to downgrade one of these guys for depth just because he has a lot of guys that can hit. But, we haven't really seen his team hit like a super high ceiling yet. And so I think that is yet to be seen as well.
I do think it's there though for him.
Yeah. Luke?
Yeah, I think everyone, we're running a little bit late. We've been going an hour and 10 minutes. Everyone said what I want to say. Max just has a really great team. Like there's the only hole is the Buccaneers brothers, as William called them, Buccaneers twins. If you trade for
flex
value, it's great. What's up?
I was just gonna say, I won't say anything much, but I think the flex could be better. That's probably the biggest hole for me.
I think that if you start putting Singletary and Woods or Ayuk in there, I think those could be good flexes.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of relatives, we have the better cousin ranked 1 higher, rounding out the top 3, of course. And we don't know if this is biased, right? Because obviously we have 3 council members that ranked ourselves top 3. But I don't think this is biased because Luke has been on fire the last 2 weeks. He made a great trade. Breece Hall's been popping off. Leonard Fournette's been popping off. Trevor Lawrence fell into the end zone twice. And Jamar Chase returned to form. So I think Luke's team is well-deserved of his 3 ranking. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's start. Who wants to start? I don't want to point out.
Dude, this team is freaking good. The biggest thing, like, Breece Hall was great. That was a great trade. I don't even know if it was a buy low, but like I just knew the deeper the season got, the more Breece Hall was going to be taking over that backfield, and it looks like he pretty much has fully taken it over.
Yes.
And he's been like a an elite RB1 when that's happening. And the Jets look good. Like they look like a good team, which is crazy to say. Which obviously helps that. But I mean, he's got Thomas, who's hasn't even been playing. The three-headed monsters of Fournette, Breece Hall, and then ETN has looked way better than James Robinson. I think he's going to take over that backfield. That running back trio is going to be great. And the wide receiver trio of Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Thomas is probably going to be even better. And if you have that, like it really doesn't matter who you're rolling out at quarterback and tight end anyways. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been really solid. And then when Waller gets back, this team's great. There's really not much to say. I think it's deserving of the ranking. I don't think it's biased. I think the top three is pretty unanimous, but maybe we're biased. I don't think we are.
One thing I will say about this trade, and I said this team, it's very solid, obviously. With Fournette and Hall, some of the best receivers, running backs in the league. Chase and Lamb, some of the best running backs or receivers in the league. I'm stupid. But this team, in my eyes, would be a step above. It'd be better if it had Kenneth Walker and Amari Cooper instead of CeeDee Lamb. Because I think that if there is a hole in this team, it's that last flex position where maybe Michael Thomas, if he ever plays again, or Elijah Moore if he ever gets a target again. But I do feel like there's a hole in this team. It's got 9 really good players on it. And if he still had Walker, I think he would have 10 really good players.
There's only 8 spots.
1, 2, 3,
I don't know.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah. Well,
but I get what you're saying.
He has 7 really good players. I can't count or tell who's a receiver or running back apparently, but
I mean, Thomas should be back soon, like very soon. But you know,
he should have been back.
Who knows?
He's not been
who
back
knows with the guy,
freaking,
but
Yeah, they've been saying Thomas is going to come back for the past 2 weeks. To be fair,
past 3 years they've been saying Thomas is going to come back, but
Thomas will be back, I promise. And when he is, this team will be holeless.
Yes, I agree with that. But until then, I think he's lacking a little bit of lack of depth, but I don't think it's going to be a problem because of how good the top end talent is. William?
I'll hand it over to Luke for this one, for the rest of it.
I obviously I like my team. I think it's like this may be pretty biased, especially when we look at Gavin's team. But I think my team might have the most high end if all of my players hit on the exact same week. We put up 140 obviously as my team collectively. And that's with Michael Carter and Irv Smith in the lineup instead of Waller and Michael Thomas. Obviously we got pretty bailed out, but I don't think that that's outside the realm of possibilities going forward. I think the floor might not be the best, with that second flex spot being in a hole, and what if Fournette doesn't get the receiving touchdown and kind of stuff like that. Or Jamar obviously dropping 30. But
the Saints could tackle.
If the Saints could tackle, man, that Jamar touchdown
absurd.
Was so bad.
60 yards, so he got touched by
I'll have to go watch it.
Absurd.
It was pretty bad.
It was a 10-yard hitch route that the cornerback just whiffed, and for some reason the free safety wasn't there, and Jamar
Lattimore? Was it Lattimore?
I think Lattimore was hurt.
Yeah, I don't think it was Lattimore.
I mean, he was dead to rights, should have been out if he just kept running for 50 yards and scored.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Absurd.
But hey, it's the Jamar Chase effect,
Is Trevor Lawrence, is he back? Is he him?
Dude, he's good.
Look at that. I mean, 20 for 22 with 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground.
So with Trevor Lawrence, I was I don't remember what quarter. I think it was Mariota, and I don't know why I would ever pick up Mariota before Lawrence, but I was my plan is to play. I think Lawrence had a bad matchup, and I was gonna start Mariota and then drop him for Lawrence next week. And then 3 minutes later, Luke picked up Lawrence. So that was kind of a square move by me. But Yeah, Lawrence he's looked like a top 10 quarterback, like just in general in the NFL this year. He's looked really good. Besides his 4 fumble performance, but
Yeah. One last thing I want to say. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just a weird fact. No, Leonard Fournette's the only Tampa Bay Buccaneer who scored a touchdown the last 2 weeks.
Interesting.
No one else has scored. They haven't thrown for any that he hasn't caught, and he had no other rushing touchdowns. Kind of weird.
Kind of stinks. Basically, you're telling me the Bucks suck, huh?
Bucks suck, but Leonard Fournette is really good.
Sorry, Siri turned on.
Man, what do we think about Allen Robinson while we're on my team? What is he back?
I was watching that
Dude.
game with Passwitz.
Allen Robinson
was getting so pissed off, bro. It was hilarious.
Dude, if Allen Robinson comes back, that would be the most fortuitous pickup, and Passwitz will literally die if that happens. Because that sucks.
Allen Robinson was PFF's #1 rated receiver this week.
Wow.
He looked good. Like he looked decent. He looked serviceable for once.
Let me point out the good combinations of when he has 2 good games on the season. They came against Atlanta and Carolina. Those teams are ass.
Well, I'm not saying they're not. Although AJ Terrell on the Falcons is actually pretty good at corner.
And he was covering.
He was probably in Cooper Kupp.
He was probably in Cup. I'm just saying, like their secondary is not bad.
He played Seattle, Raiders, Green Bay, 13, 14, 15. I mean,
I can't remember. It's Allen Robinson, I think, against the slot. If a team is really bad against the slot, Allen Robinson will do well. And by really bad, I mean bottom like 2, 3, 4 in the league. But that's a little factoid for you, Longs. If he plays a team with a bad slot corner, you can start Allen Robinson.
I'm saying, and I'll go on record, I think I'm down terrible if I ever have to start Allen Robinson.
I agree.
But my watching that Carolina game, he was catching stuff across the middle of the field, which from my perspective, he hadn't even been running stuff across the middle of the field like 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
He was walking stuff.
I was slightly happy watching that. Not that I will ever start him ever.
McVay was just waiting for Passwitz to drop him. And then he was like, okay, finally.
I feel like I can't not talk about Elijah Moore because I'm a huge Elijah Moore guy. I try and get him in almost all my leagues. And he's been awful and he gets no targets. And I'm very sad about it.
Oh, I've been so sad about it.
But I told you last.
But he's not going to complain. He'll tweet that he won't complain.
He's gonna tweet about how he's not going to complain.
Because he's not that guy.
Because he's just that humble and team focused that you'll tweet about not complaining about stuff.
It's almost as if he has a reason to complain.
He does.
Well, let's finish this up. If 2 teams left, we're basically going to be talking to ourselves because I doubt anyone will watch this portion, this last 3 teams of the podcast. But my team, we all said was second best, led by Brady, got Dalvin, Montgomery. Thought I was on top of the world 2 weeks ago, and then with 2 kind of poor weeks in a row, I've fallen. I texted Jack the other day. I was like, man, my team sucks. So falling back down to earth as far as morale goes. Morale's pretty low. But I think I've still got a good team. I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts on it.
I mean, my thoughts can be pretty well summed up by looking at your bench and the people on IR. Like, oh, you've had a bad couple weeks? Probably because Devontae Adams is on bye, Chris Olave has been concussed, and Jonathan Taylor has been out with a high ankle strain. When you put Taylor, Olave, and Adams back into this lineup, it shows you why it's a top 2 team in our league. When you've got Debo, Adams, and you're flexing Montgomery and Kareem Hunt or Olave, that's an elite team with tons of upside and floor. I mean, it's hard to. There's not much to say about this team besides it's got a lot of really good players on it.
Yeah. I think.
Well, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I sorry to butt in. I think like on paper, this in terms of like absolute star power, this might be like the Avengers of our league. I mean, you have Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, David Montgomery, and then you have Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel. Like, I think those are probably like, I'd say if we redrafted 6 top or 5 or 6 like first, second round picks, like in terms of a sheer talent standpoint, it might be the best in the league. And then the bench is good too. So it's not even like one of those like top heavy teams. I think it'd be very hard to find fault. I think you'd have to be absolutely like a certified hater to find anything to complain about with this team.
I agree.
Thanks, guys.
I like the rolling out of Taysom Hill at the tight end because like the team's good enough to where you might as well just throw somebody that might give you like 20 to 40 points at tight.
Fuck it, we ball.
Yeah,
I believe is the
True.
Taysom Hill to kick him in while he's down.
I love that because he's a tight end, we cannot see any of his actual stats.
I know.
It's like, oh, this is great. I love looking at this. Like, oh, he has 1 fumble and 1 catch on the year.
When he starts at quarterback on Thursday, it's still going to be blank. So,
oh my gosh.
I
mean you might as well throw him there because like outside of Kelsey and Andrews, like every other tight end is just like average at best. So
what was the week? I'm pretty sure this week against Dallas last year, he was listed as a tight end in a bunch of leagues.
Yeah, and then everybody freaked out.
I still think he should be listed as a quarterback. Like I don't care what they call him on the roster.
I think he should be a flex because he plays like all over the place. So
yeah, you shouldn't be able to start him at tight end. That's just
no, you shouldn't be able to do that.
My philosophy right now, pivoting off of Taysom Hill, is that normally last 2 years, really, the championship team has kind of separated themselves from the pack around week 11. So last year it was Longworth really kind of pulling away, and then the year before that it was me, and then the year before that was Max. And each time around week 11, 10, 11, 12, their team started to like really become the best team. And so what I've done here is I've constructed a team that has enough depth to where week 9, 10, I will be able to trade some of these guys, especially during the bye weeks. And I hope that I have enough depth, to get through the next like 5 weeks to that point so that you can really identify like the league winning guys and then sell out for those guys and hopefully, pull away around 10, 11, 12. That's what I have in the back of my mind. I'm trying to, not get too thin. I was kind of worried about the Jonathan Taylor trade just because I loved having the combo of Adams, Deebo, Mike Williams. But then with how Mike Williams and Melvin Gordon have played, obviously that looks like a great trade now. But yeah, I think just trying to insulate my team to injury, and it's early. I mean, it's almost not even midway through the season yet. So there's still a lot of football to be played.
I think a lot of people will like get trades and then they'll look and like them, oh, that's fair. And then they look at your team, they're like, oh, but this team would be way too good if that happened. But like once you get around that week 10 mark, like if you're like not gonna make the playoffs or not gonna win, like you're playing to not get last, so you don't have to take the punishment. So you're like, whatever, I don't care what he does, I'm gonna do what I have to do to win. So hey, I think that's gonna work for you.
I hope so.
I think that.
And you talked about kind of like last year, my team separated the pack. Like that was the exact same strategy I did. If we want to get super, tactical.
I mean, no one's gonna listen to this part, so we could talk about our waivers.
They might
if y'all got waivers today.
Passways is just gonna screen record.
I'm wavering Kenyon Drake, but Max is gonna snipe him from me. So
that's ultra down bad. But
wait, Luke, you were saying?
Yeah, so like I remember, I think it was like week 9 or 10. I don't want to go back and like do like the whole previous leagues thing, but like I had like 6 running backs on my roster, and everyone else had like 3.
I remember that. Yeah, and so that's kind of the same thing.
What happened was I started wheeling and dealing and like just pretty much just trimming all of the depth away and just building like pretty much the best freaking starting lineup I could for playoffs after buys were gone.
Yeah.
And so like, it's a very similar. You just need enough depth to get you through buys. And you just need to manage your buys where you don't have like 3 dudes out in a week, so you're not fucked. But like, you really only need one bench guy.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and you raise a good point because it's like, you only need one bench guy, but then it's like the balance of like, well, I got to insulate to injury, but then especially in our league, it's like points for is a big deal. I mean, you have a 5-way tie for first place, 3-way tie for the last playoff spot, and so it's like, points for is a really big deal. So you want to insulate yourself to injury, but you need to score to make the playoffs. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a situation where we haven't had a tiebreaker decide who gets the last playoff spot. So, yeah.
Speaking
I mean,
of
that's
points
all.
scored,
Yes, Gavin, I know you're just itching. I mean,
golly,
we
Gavin has one good year in fantasy, and he's talking so much shit.
this
You
is
always collapse, Gavin.
this
I'm
is a
waiting on the
dream,
day you
a
overtrade
dream
collapse.
0 wide receiver to get Stevenson and Pierce, and then Jefferson, St. Brown, Pittman, and then the huge positional advantage, Mahomes and Kelsey. Obviously, you can nitpick and say, "Oh, well, you don't know you ain't got like you said earlier, you got 7 good players. You don't have that 8th last flex, and I'm sure that's what you see all the time. But you got 8 weeks left to find a flex for playoffs, or you can stream the flex in the playoffs because you're getting plus 20 points between Mahomes and Kelsey over over the replacement. And so this is a 0 wide receiver play to perfection. We all talked about how the positional advantage, the wide receiver advantage is going to be there, and then now he's found weekly starting running backs. And so props to you, Gavin, for playing the vertical receiver game in a year where running backs and fantasy in general has been down. So obviously you're like 100 points ahead of 3rd place, 4th place, 5th place. So keep it up, I guess is all I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, this team is just stupid. I mean, he picked the perfect year to go 0 RB, picked the perfect 0 RBs to go 0 RB, has the best like quarterback tight end stack. You can say what you want about DJ Moore. Personally, I think he's gross. So you do need to find that second spot. But it
future
doesn't
Kansas City wide receiver.
your second flex doesn't matter
Yeah,
because your
exactly.
team is so good, right? Like it's broken. Like it's like stupidly good. I mean, if your 8th, I guess your second flex hits in a week, you're putting up 160. Like, with the team not on buys, obviously.
You got Dotson coming back.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best team in the league. I think some of that may be because it's like the year to go 0 RB and you pulled it off. I think in like a more traditional year, Williams' team might eke you out just because he has Jonathan Taylor and Dalvin Cook. But like,
just give it a couple weeks. Give it a couple weeks.
This is like the ultimate flash in a pan team in the ultimate year where you should have done it. And I love it so much. Like,
yeah.
The thing that makes me feel so good about this team is this week I scored 114. That was fairly decent. That would have beat a lot of people. And I had a top 4 week in the league when I had J.D. McKissick go for 2 points, Jalen Warren go for 0.2, and DJ Moore go for 3.7. And I had a top 4 week with 3 players just giving me absolutely nothing.
You raise a good point. It's like with how low fantasy's been this year, this is kind of technical strategy wise, but like what if we just start trading for guys with that 30-point ceiling, right? Because then that's like a third of your points on any given week. And so
that was my philosophy with building this team. I wanted
right. So like
that's why
right
I
now,
refused to trade Jamar. Yeah.
Right now I have
a trade for Jamar.
That's more like the steady. I have like the Taylor, Samuel, Dalvin. I mean, that's like steady, but it's not 35, 40 points. And so I'm kind of like, maybe I should start, trading for more guys like that because I mean, if the league average is 95 points a week and you have one guy get 35, it's like, dude, that is like making up far and away for like the 4 other guys on your team that are inevitably going to get less than 5 points because fantasy is just sucks this year. So I don't know. Kind of more technical strategy that none of them need to hear.
Me and Gavin had similar ideas, like I tried my hardest to keep hold of ETN because like I think his upside's insane. I think his upside's higher than Kenneth Walker. Now that may be a hot take, but like, the reason I wanted Breece Hall so badly in that Terry trade. Now I remember going on record on the podcast and I was like, I mainly did that trade for Breece Hall. Like I gave up Waddle, but like Breece Hall, any given week, go for 30. We've already seen it once this year. Fournette has that 10 catch for like, let's give like 60 yards and a receiving touchdown upside that a lot of people don't have. Like, I would rather lose a week by 30 and have any given week the opportunity to win by 40 as opposed to like I'm averaging 90 points a week and like I'm getting beat by 5 every week. That was kind of my philosophy making my team.
I think I like to think that I continue my philosophy to my bench because I don't have any players. Like I talk about how my team did good in spite of the ass players I had to start, but every time I have a player on bye, I have to start someone like DJ Moore or JD McKissick or like I almost started Khalil Shakir this week, and he's a rookie who got 21% of the snaps. I'm probably going to start Sky Moore, and he's getting 30% of the snaps. They're not good players now, but they are rookies with a lot of upside. That Jalen Warren is a guy who, first of all, Mike Tomlin's a liar. He said he was going to get more involved, and he got 2 carries. What the hell, Mike? Nothing matters.
In a game that they were winning the whole time, too.
I don't know why you trust Mike Tomlin on anything. He's the penultimate, like, I guess, like the ultimate coach.
He does. He's actually like
he is the biggest coach speak guy.
Yeah, how can you say that when Kyle Shanahan exists?
Dude, a trash can could catch a pass in a Steelers game, and and Tomlin would say he's going to start him the next week. Like, dude, he talks so much crap.
That's because all of the receivers are god tier, but that's by the by. I'm just saying, I think the bench construction, with the exception of J.D. McKissick, he's getting dropped. He's facilitating my waiver claim. Let's just say that. Goodbye, Mr. McKissick.
Yeah, Gavin, show us your waiver claim. Who are you wavering, Gavin?
Wait a minute. Does anyone here have a higher waiver than me?
I do.
You won't show it.
I have it. I have a higher waiver.
Right, I know. Look at your team. All right, you can't. You're not going to steal this. Greg Dulcich.
Dude, I was literally going to get him. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I could get him. I think something that we're kind of overlooking here. Obviously the 0 RB worked out perfectly. Like Stevenson, as long as Harris is out, is easily RB1, and Pierce has looked like an RB1. But the freaking thing that scares me the most, especially coming up against this team, is the Mahomes Kelsey stack.
That's yesterday.
That freaking sucks, dude. I hate that so much because like that alone might end up freaking beating my team. And then obviously on top of that, you've got like 2 right now RB1s, and then like Jefferson and Amon-Ra, who like elite wide receiver ones. Hopefully Amon-Ra should get back to what he's been doing when he gets fully healthy. And then Pittman, I mean, he looked great last week. He's really had a good year. I think people have like kind of been like, oh, Pittman's been disappointing. I don't really think he has been disappointing. Like, yeah, he had 1 bad week, but other than that, he's been really good. Yeah, the Colts have been disappointing.
Colts have just been hit or miss, yeah.
I mean, the Colts have been really bad for the most part, but he's still a wide
Matt
receiver
Ryan,
14.
though, so.
Yeah, that's my next quarterback is Matt Ryan.
42 completions is a Colts franchise record, by the way. I don't know if you guys caught that on the podcast.
He better break that this week.
Yards. Crazy. 3 passing touchdowns. None of them went to Pittman. But I can't.
Rough.
Dude, but yeah, on Sunday, I was up by like 60, and I was texting in the group chat, like, dude, I'm freaking the hell out.
I saw that.
Kelsey stack. It's so scary.
You said something that was like, Jamar caught a big bomb. I was like, dude, aren't you up like 70 points right now?
Last week, Mahomes and Kelsey had 63 in week 5. So never safe. Let's move on. Let's wrap it up. It's been a really long episode.
It has. We need to.
Can we just say predictions? Is that allowed?
No, we're
Yes.
predicting this.
We'll do them quick. We'll do them quick.
We're predicting.
We don't even
Alright,
need
game of the
to
week.
go into the analysis.
What's the highest ranked matchup here? What's the highest scoring?
It's kind of gross this week, dude. Like
Oh,
maybe
this is super
Terry and
gross.
Spencer, or
Damn.
Bret
This
and
is
Lungs.
super gross.
All right, Terry's right. We're adding defenses back next year. There's just not enough points being scored. I'm
McClendon
never at
once again with
kickers.
highest projections.
I mean, when you have
Wait, we gotta find a narrative, y'all.
narrative here, all right, it's even a dead week for narrative.
I
You
mean,
could
honestly,
say
it's Jack and Gavin. They're 1 and 5 seed.
yeah, that's
Or we
true.
can just say it's McClendon versus transphobia. How about that? What do we?
Yeah, sure. We'll say McClendon and LJ. They're back to back in the rankings. They're both 3 and 3.
I'm transphobic.
Do it for the gays,
They,
Max.
you got
Max being an ally.
Be an
Do
ally,
it for
Max.
do it for the LGBTQ.
Community,
All right.
bro.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
We'll run through Gavin and Jack.
Me versus Jack. Quick look at it.
I'm gonna go Gavin.
I'm
Justin
going
Jefferson
Gavin.
and Cooper Kupp are on bye. This would be much more interesting matchup were it not for that. And he's starting 2 running backs who are currently listed as out. That's hella unfortunate.
All right, man. Listen, I feel like it's worked for me this year. In terms of there's been a lot of matchups where I'm like, yeah, I probably should lose this week, but I don't give a fuck. I'm picking myself. I'm shocking the world.
Hell yeah.
I'm
brother.
winning this week.
Oh wait, yeah,
I'm winning this week. I don't care what anybody says. 11-1, I'm winning this week. And Gavin will score. I'll put my voodoo on him, and he will score.
Oh.
Whoa,
and I'm gonna win this week.
All right.
But probably not. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna win. I'm definitely not gonna win, but I'll say I'll win.
I pick myself. And then Jared Goff's gonna
No, I'm not starting Jared Goff against Dallas.
Thank you. So I can root for the Cowboys. I can root for the Lions now and not have conflicting.
I think Goff
Right.
could score 40 and you'd probably still win.
This is Pasowitz finally getting some good luck because he's playing Zach on Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs bye week.
Yep.
This is huge for Pasowitz.
I am still gonna go with Wingfield.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I'm gonna go with Wingfield. I think I might just go straight chalk this week. I mean, I don't think Pasowitz has in the tank.
You know what? Just because of the 3 Bengal stack right here.
Oh, that's so gross.
That means I'm going with the Germans. Najee, Germany. I think they take it. I'm a Wandell.
Yeah, I'm going with the Third Reich.
Yes.
Gavin, can you scroll down to Zach's bench?
Yes.
Who is okay? So he's
Look
gonna
at the
drop
bye
Conklin
weeks, man.
and he has an empty. Okay, because I was trying to think who is he gonna drop for to replace Diggs and Allen. But it looks like I'd drop Conklin. Yeah, give me Pasowitz. I'm gonna keep picking him till he wins.
Wait, never mind. The Bills are on by? No, hell no.
Yes.
I'm going with the Fourth
Yes.
Reich here. I'm going
The 4th Reich there.
I'm going Pasowitz all the way, baby.
All right. 3. Do you hear that, Zach? You're being disrespected. Blackboard material, bulletin board material for Zach. All right. Terry versus Spencer. With the
Spencer.
return of DeAndre Swift. He's having
I'll take Terry.
Keenan Allen's not
Those
going to be
flexes are
back.
gross.
Latavius Murray is not in. Al Phelan's on by.
Phelan's white.
Phelan's white. James Robinson's washed.
I'm gonna go Terry just because McCaffrey plays Tampa and Tampa's been god tier against running backs this year.
They'll shut him down. They have in years past.
They're like the only team that can stop McCaffrey.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go Terry. Although I hate it because this team should not be 4-2. I'm gonna be honest. He's
That's
played
a
nobody.
Very fortunate team, but
Yeah.
hey, sometimes better be lucky than good. But yeah, I think Spencer wins this one, even though I'm hating on him. I think he pulls it out. William,
I'll take Terry.
I'm gonna go with Spencer. I think that Kyler's gonna have a good week. Deontay is not. I don't know. I mean,
fool! It's the Thursday night game.
if
They're gonna score 3
Dude.
points again.
Dude, Call of Duty, it's not even a weekend for him to play. So I mean, like, bro,
You're right. That's
Yeah, you
it
can't
has to
stay
be
up
his
late on
best time.
Saturday.
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Good cap.
Yeah, I think Lamar with no Bateman is kind of booty cheeks. So
All right, Longworth and Brett. Does Brett get
Luke.
back on track?
nope, I'm taking Longwood.
Yeah, no.
If I'll say this, if Brett
Long
accepts my
sweep.
trade, if Brett accepts my trades I send him, then he'll win this week.
I agree.
But
With
I'll
that.
take
I
Luke.
agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Longworth is hot. I'm not picking against him. He's on a hot streak. NBA
Let's
general
go.
rules.
Longworth sweep.
No, it's like
Well,
the
I'm
game
starting
day occurs.
Renfro, which is kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie. I feel kind of bad about that.
I mean, Brett's starting J.K. Dobbins and Cole Kmet, so you should be fine.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. No, that's matchup of the week. William versus James, the trade revenge game.
This is not my final lineup. What my final lineup will be projected like 115. I'm gonna vote myself.
Are you gonna start Taysom? Or are you gonna start who do you have? Oh, it's Freddie's
Going
back.
against Taysom.
I'm definitely gonna start Taysom if Andy Dalton's questionable, and
Yes.
if not, then I don't really want to roll out Fryermuth with Mitch back. So yeah, I probably will roll out Taysom. But then I'll have Jonathan Taylor. So
I think I'm going to pick Williams' team just for the reason that we talked about. There, he's just got a bunch of good players, and James' team just has more holes. And I think Jonathan Taylor, once he gets in this lineup, is going to put William over the edge. Add insult to injury for James.
Yeah, I think James's team is just trending in a very bad direction with Melvin playing bad, Herbert playing bad, Williams playing bad, Christian Koch playing bad. Against the Giants, who have a pretty underrated secondary. Or it's on a Thursday. I don't see James pulling it out. I don't think he's got the firepower this week to outscore Williams' infinity gauntlet of a roster.
interestingly, I have reached out to James, inquired about Kirk and Metcalf. So, but then I realized I was
I
playing
have
him.
two, and he asked for Jamar. It was so stupid.
Then I was playing him this week, and I was like, well, is it dumb to trade with someone I'm about to play with, especially if I'm like, giving him a player that he's going to start? Yeah, it is dumb to do that. But I mean, is it worth? Do I still think I can win? I don't know. It depends on what happens with the trade. So I just shot him a text earlier today. There might be some switching up, but probably not.
Too. I need him to check my trade. But yeah, I think that's a Williams sweep.
Nice.
And now we move on to the matchup of the week. Max McClendon versus Transphobia.
It's the new edition of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, McClendon versus Transphobia.
This one's interesting, man.
It really
I know.
is.
I think it's the most interesting match for the week.
I think Kenneth will outscore 13, especially against the Chargers.
Yeah, definitely.
Amari against Baltimore. The Ravens secondary still sucks. They'll probably outscore 13. The Raiders secondary, man, dude, he's got some good. LJ's has some good matchups, but these flexes on both sides are kind of booty.
Tough to miss AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll make some waivers for a flex. So like for example, you were talking about Max maybe wavering Kenyon Drake. If Max gets Kenyon Drake in the flex, that's probably, a good play.
He's going to get him off my hands.
Man, dude.
Max likes to have the number one waiver spot and then not use it all year.
Yeah. Until like week 11 when
all the good players are gone.
But some starter, like I remember it was
Gavin, that was me. You gotta check it.
Was it AJ Dillon? It was the Green Bay backup that he got off my hand. Like I was the number 2 waiver and he was the number 1. And like Aaron Jones was out for the year. And then AJ Dillon was like a league winner. So I don't know if he'll waste it on Drake, who might only be like a 1-week play. But he also.
The thing I'll say for LJ is that Max is starting two different sets of players on the same team. Now, they're in good matchups. So if there's ever a week where Evans and Godwin could both go off, it's against Carolina. And a shootout against the Chiefs could totally happen. But in theory, Max does have a little bit less upside. But then again, MVS and Garrett Wilson don't exactly scream upside either. Garrett Wilson's going to get put on. Is he good enough for Pat Surtain Island yet? We'll find out.
Oh gosh.
Gavin, if you could be so kind to pull up that photo I just sent onto the screen so I could show it along with my pick.
Okay, here it is.
Get that son of a bitch off.
All right, is that it? Is it?
Oh yeah, baby. F transphobia. I'm picking Max.
Woo! Guys,
let's go. Transformers aren't scary. Neither is LJ's team.
You know, guys.
Max is on a heater.
Go ahead.
I don't know. There's nothing much to it other than Eckler and Kamara are both in objectively pretty good matchups. So,
you know, I'm gonna do something special. I've been chalking it up in these picks, and so I'm gonna keep chalking it. Max is gonna win this one, guys. I'll give it the 100% stamp guarantee.
Can't lose parlay.
You're guaranteeing this one 100%.
Max is gonna win. And he's going to enter into the top conversation once again because that's where he belongs, okay?
Dude, consistent.
We should start throwing down like lines and odds on these games.
Jack, did you take Max?
Oh, I haven't even picked yet. At first I wanted to go with LJ, but like I don't know. You get to that flex and it's just like
after that 100% stamp guarantee, how could you even pick LJ?
Right. I mean, Max's team is already better. I mean, like I mean, as good as Barkley's been, like Kamara and Eckler each of them could outscore Barkley.
This is not a knock against LJ. Yeah, I love LJ's team, and he knows I love Barkley, but Max is, I mean, he's won 3 in a row, so he's kind of moving it.
Nah. Max needs to get rid of Evans or Godwin, and LJ is going to win because of it.
Nice.
That's right. Team construction wins the day, and I think that Transformers actually. Megatron and the Decepticons are scary. I am with the transphobia on this one. I am afraid of Transformers.
I'm transphobic, so I'll take LJ. I guess.
We are certified haters this week.
Gavin, I want to share my screen really quick.
All right, I will stop sharing.
These are the standings so far, right? We haven't done 4 and 5 yet. Did we even do predictions for 5?
Damn,
did y'all do?
We did predictions for 6. They will be found. We will find.
No. I just wrote per. Oh wait. Oh shoot, this should be over 1, huh? Because this is week 7. All right. Well, this is how we are so far. So it looks like whoever we pick loses. In the first 3 weeks. So I mean, maybe 4 and 5 were different, and 6 were different. But everyone we just picked, if you stay this far, we're sorry because you're gonna lose.
Well, you both swept in ours nonetheless, so we might lose epically.
Woo. All right, let me bring us back here. That'll do it. Long ass episode, bro. Why do we always do this?
I'm not.
We're always all right, we're gonna
because we didn't
down.
give him an episode last week, so we're gonna have an extra long, good one, full of content.
And when we all weigh in on 12 teams, it's just
I think I knew this was gonna be long.
I knew that. I saw Williams like in and out 45 minutes.
30.
So I was like,
I wanted it to be like that, but
no. See, I wanted to spend at least 10 minutes in each team.
No, this was fun. I'm glad everybody got their due share, and we were respectful of everybody's team.
I have a test.
We all had something to say.
I have a test tomorrow morning, so I'm not going to get this out tonight.
I have a midterm tomorrow.
Good. Because
you have a midterm after midterm week.
Yes, bro. Yes. After fall break.
This test was actually supposed to be on Monday. I got a text from my friend that I woke up to a text from my friend that he texted me Sunday night. And was like, "Hey, I think we have a test tomorrow in that class," and I was like, "Huh,
brother? What?"
Because I hadn't been to differential equations in like 3 weeks. So I spent all day learning what the hell a differential equation is. and I'm making it up thanks to my trusty doctor's note.
Oh yes, thank.
Nice.
Yeah,
Were
my
you
stomach is
actually
really
swi-
bothering
Like,
me.
how'd you swing that?
Oh, I just I think I had the stomach flu.
Ah,
Dang, bro.
Unfortunate. Bad time.
Sorry
Happens.
about that.
Happens.
Glad you're back though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey man, it got William last week with the cold.
Facts.
Coming down with the flu. Me and Jack gotta
Facts.
watch out.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Outro us, Jack. I'll see you on Fortnite.
I bet.
All right. I'll try and get this up on Thursday.
Y'all join. Y'all can feel free to join. Jack does all the
I don't even know
carrying.
if I have Fortnite. I'll
I
all
don't
right,
have it
let me
either.
let me song us out.
All right, bet.
That'll wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed skipping.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the 10 minutes of this you listened to.
They definitely are still listening.
We do this for you. We do this for you. The people.
I would listen to
LJ.
the whole thing.
LJ and Passwitz, we love y'all.
Yeah. Fuck you, Bret.
Hold on.
Set my trade.